In this how-to, we are going to learn how to use the stored procedure in ADO.NET. If you have watched all my previous videos related with ADO.NET, you must have noticed that I was using inline query. It means that I was writing the SQL statements inside the C# code. I was doing that to make those demonstrations simple. Now here we are going to use a stored procedure instead of writing the SQL statements in the C# code. Ideally, in all real-time application, you should not use inline SQL queries, but you should create a stored procedure and you should call the stored procedure, because in this way you are making your application efficient and faster in terms of performance. So in order to show this demonstration, what I am doing is that I am going to create one ASPX page here. On my ASPX page, I will have one label called LBL data. So you can see here I have a LBL data here, and then in the code behind, let me remove all these things from here. In the code behind, I have couple of more codes, and naturally the first will be the constr, that is my connection string retrieved from the web.config file. You can see here this constr is into my web.config file here, and that is being retrieved using configuration manager, and this configuration manager class exists in system.configuration. That's why I have used that namespace, and I am retrieving this constr and storing into the underscore constr page level variable, and the same will be ultimately used to connect it to the database. So let me copy paste some more code. So here my fetch records method. So let me correct it out. Looks like it's okay now. Yes. Now here you can see that I have hard coded the auto ID, and I am calling fetch records method by passing the auto ID as the parameter. And in this fetch records method, what I am doing is, first I am instantiating the SQL connection. Naturally, in order to communicate with the database, we need a SQL connection in case your database is SQL server. If your database is some ODB database, for example MySQL or any other type of database, then you will have to use different provider. So for example, if your database supports ODB, then you will have to use ODB connection object. So here I am using SQL Server, so I am using SQL connection object, and I am instantiating this object and passing the constr as my connection string. And remember that I am using block. If you would have watched my earlier videos, I have explained that what is the use of using block. And once my connection object is instantiated, then I am instantiating the SQL command object, and this SQL command object I am passing the name of the stored procedure as the first parameter, you can see, and the second parameter is my connection object that I had instantiated before. And then once we have specified stored procedure name, then we will have to use SQL command dot command type is equal to command type dot stored procedure. Command type is nothing but enumerations. So we'll have to specify that the text that we are going to write is nothing but a stored procedure name. If we will not specify this, then this text will be treated as a SQL statement, but in this case it is not. So that's why we have to specify command type is equal to command type dot stored procedure, and then whatever parameter you have into the stored procedure, you will have to pass them one by one. So in my case, in the get records stored procedure that I am going to show you later on, has only one parameter called auto ID, and its type is integer, so I am writing type integer, and then I am specifying its value as auto ID, that is coming into this particular method. And once I have added the parameter into this command, SQL command, then I need to instantiate the SQL adapter object and then call the fill method. Because my get records stored procedure is returning only one result set, so I can fill that into the table. In case my get records method stored procedure will return more than one result set, then I could have used here data set. So fine. Now using fill method, we are filling all the records that will be retrieved from this stored procedure into the table object. And then once we have all those records into the table, then I'm simply looping through all the rows of the table and appending it into this, and then I'm writing all those records, or whatever, it may be one or more than one, but in this case it will be only one. And then we are writing all those data into the LBL data label that exists in my ASPX page. So now let me run this page. So here is my default.aspx page, and I'm going to run this page here. And you can see that here is my record 6 Dan Mario 35 true. And let me show you the record from this table as well. So here is my table, and you can see the 6 is Dan Mario 3511. Let's retrieve the record whose auto ID is 10. So I should be getting Smith, Paul, 2 and true. So let me just hard code this 10 here, and when I will refresh this page you will see that Smith, Paul, 2 and the true is coming. So that record data is coming. Now let me show you the stored procedure. So my stored procedure looks like this: get records stored procedure, and you can see that here is my, wow, please hold on, yes. So here what we are doing is that this is alter. In your case you will have to write create a stored procedure. So it will look like this. So create a stored procedure, get records. Now we'll have to write the parameters. So in this case I have one parameter of type integer, and then you can write your select statements. So for example, here I am going to use auto ID, first name, last name and age and active from personal detail, where auto ID is equal to the parameter that is coming as an input of this particular stored procedure. So when I will call this stored procedure, then this statement will execute and it will return the data to my code, and that's why you are able to see these records here. Now let me change the stored procedure a little bit. So let me say that return all the records whose auto ID is greater than whatever auto ID I will input. And now let me alter this stored procedure. So alter is successful. Now what we are going to do is that now we can give input as maybe 5, because it is greater than, so I will be getting from 6. So 6, 7, 10, 20 and 22. Now let me run this page, and because my code is here 10, so let me write 5 here. So you can see that 6, 7, 10, 20, 22, all the auto IDs that is greater than 5 is being retrieved here, because I had modified the stored procedure code greater than auto ID. So let me revisit the steps that we have followed to use the stored procedure in our ASP.NET code. So first what we need to do, naturally we need to instantiate the SQL connection, and then we need to instantiate the SQL command. Then we need to pass the stored procedure name under the SQL command in the constructor, and then we need to specify the command type to command type.stored procedure, and then if any parameters are there for this particular stored procedure, then we need to add the parameter into the SQL command, and then we need to use the SQL adapter to fill the results into the data table or data set. Now remember that there might be many ways. For example, you may ignore specifying the stored procedure here, and you can write cmd.stored procedure, cmd.command text equal to get records. You can do here also, but I prefer this way because you don't have to write too many lines of code. Now in case your stored procedure is insert, update or delete, then naturally you will not have to use this. You will have to simply use cmd.execute non-query. So all other steps of using the stored procedure is similar as if we are executing the SQL statement from the code. The only difference is that instead of SQL statement you need to write the stored procedure name, and then you will have to specify command type is equal to command type dot stored procedure. That's it. And the rest all the steps that we have followed earlier to execute the SQL statements directly from the C# code, you have to follow all the steps here as well.